It's finally happened. After a years-long effort, AMD looks set to finally be able to include HDMI 2.1 support for Linux. If you haven't heard about this, when HDMI 2.1 was originally announced, it moved critical features behind much more strict NDA and compliance rules. This is a major problem for AMD because their Linux stack is fully open source, meaning these new licensing rules didn't allow AMD to implement HDMI 2.1 on Linux. And in fact, the HDMI Forum, which is the governing body behind the development of the HDMI standard, rejected AMD's open source driver proposal all the way back in February of 2024. So if you use an AMD GPU on Linux, you can't use HDMI 2.1 to this day, even if the card supports it. This isn't a problem for NVIDIA GPUs because they use mostly proprietary drivers. And this is a huge issue for one company, Valve, and their upcoming Steam machine, because not only does it use Linux, but it also uses AMD graphics. You can see that a major game console not having support for HDMI 2.1 is a big deal, which is why Valve has reportedly been trying to convince the HDMI forum to approve AMD's drivers to Linux. Well, it looks like they may have finally done it, as AMD recently submitted a kernel patch that focuses on a specific feature that's exclusive to HDMI 2.1, and this is of course why incentives are very important. Valve had a huge incentive to make this happen. Don't get me wrong, AMD had been trying as well, but when a new product heavily relies on this happening instead of a small subset of users, it becomes a much bigger priority. Either way, for those on Linux, it does look to be happening.